For a 20-yarder, my shortest possible shot, I've got an open club face. I'm choked down to the steel, and I'm gonna hinge at my belly button and then bring it all the way around to midnight, smooth and easy, like I'm driving a car, don't wanna spill the coffee around the corners. So here's 20. Hinge at the belly button. And then it's very important to stick the landing where I call midnight. That's all the way up. The reason it's important is because that moderates your speed. In order to arrive at midnight with balance, you have to have a bit of rhythm. So I've got my 20-yard target in sights. I'm gripped down to the steel, ball positions in the middle of my feet. I'm thinking smooth, smooth, and I'm just gonna go belly button, midnight. See how good we do. How do we start hitting a 30-yard shot? Do we want to swing faster? No, I say. Just change your implement. So we started out here, wide open club face, choke down to the steel, hinging at the belly. How do I get 10 more yards? Keep everything else the same, come halfway up the grip. 30 yards, halfway up the grip, hinge at the belly button all the way to midnight, open club face. Here we go. How do we get to 40 yards? 40, that's crazy. So we got 10 yards extra by coming halfway up the grip. Can we get another 10 yards by coming all the way up the grip? Yes, you can. Everything else remains the same. Open club face, hinge at the belly button, all the way to midnight. Break it down. Charlie Brown. Ooh. All right, so we've exhausted our options for 20, 30, 40. How do we get to 50? Square the face up. That's gonna add more distance than an open club face long club. A square club face short club is gonna go just a little bit longer than a long club open face. Everything else stays the same. We're now gripping back down on the steel. Club face is square, still hinging at the belly button, and staying on the ride till the top. 50 yards. Nice and smooth. All right, 60 yards. How do we get 10 more yards? Well, we're going to go halfway up the grip, square club face, hinge at the belly button, all the way up. That's 10 extra yards. 70 yards. Choke down to the steel. Where are we going to hinge? If we hinge at the belly button, it's going to go the same distance. This is our first hinge at 9 o'clock, all the way up to midnight maneuver. 70 yards. Think 70, 70, 70, 9 o'clock, midnight. 80 yards. All the way up the grip. Hinge at 9 o'clock, all the way around to midnight. This is my fave. If I got 80 yards on the course and I start to play for 80 yards, that's when I play really good. 80 yards, I got a spot, 9 o'clock, midnight. Oh yeah. We've achieved 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 yards, all with a lob wedge. Now to maintain our super smooth mentality, instead of starting to swing harder and faster, I recommend just picking up a new implement. So we're gonna go 4-degree gaps between wedges. This is my 56 degree. For a 90-yard shot, I'm no longer playing with open faces. It's just going to be a square face shot for 90. Choke down onto the steel. 90 is a 9 o'clock midnight mentality. 56 degree, choke down onto the steel, square face, 9 o'clock, midnight, 90. How do we get to 100? Let's just roll up the grip. Almost a full length grip. Slight choke down, maybe a 1/4 inch down to help moderate your speed. Still 9 o'clock, midnight. All right, 110. How do we achieve 110? Choke down steel, gap wedge. 9 o'clock midnight is 110. So 120. This should land 10 yards short of the fence. Full length of my 52 degree gap wedge. Get it to 9 o'clock. Get it to midnight. Keep the rhythm nice and smooth. Now I've advertised up to 130 yards. And that's kind of the last stop on this method, because once I get to 140 yards, that's just sort of a normal stock pitching wedge. But if I have 130 yards, I grab my pitching wedge, choke down to the steel, and just get it up to 9 o'clock. See if I can one-hop it into the fence, not into the pool. I'm a little scared because the guy's out in his front yard. Might have decelled slightly on that one. And aimed a little further right than I would have. That's as close as I want to get. I think that rolled into the fence. So I hope that helps clarify one option for how you can hit distance wedges. It's hard to feel it. I tried to feel it when I was out playing full time and I just wasn't good enough. So I encourage you to try this. Write it out on a grid. Figure out what you need to change as your variable. I've even seen some super golf nerds put a sticker on their club while you're learning it that talks about the characteristics of the club and sort of your feels to achieve 20, 30, 40. You can put a sticker on there. That's within the rules of golf. It'll remind you where to hinge, how to have the club face, where your backswing should be. Remember, it's either belly button or 9 o'clock. That's pretty easy to remember. That was easier for me than a true clock system. One of the options for these, which could work equally fine, is you're going to want to think about swinging to 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. For me, it was just a little bit easier to narrow that down to a binary of belly button, 9 o'clock. Try it out. Let me know if it works. Text, email, DM me with questions. And always remember, you can always be kinder.